Welcome back everyone to Blender on Unreal Engine, becoming a dungeon prop artist, and this is where we left it off. Alright, so let's come in and first of all, we'll do our wax seals. So let's come into these, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click the down arrow. I want to type in a wax, and I want the red wax, and I'm going to do the same thing on here as well. Down arrow, I'm going to look for wax again. I could have just linked, I guess, the materials, but we'll just do it this way. And now what I'll do is you can see we've got a lot of issues with these. So let's come to this one first. I'm going to, again, I think actually better off unwrapping it the way we did with the actual paper. So if I come to select now, come down to select sharp edges. And down here on the left-hand side, you can see this is what it's based on. If I turn this down, you'll see we get more. If I turn it up this way, you'll see we get less. And now you can see you can turn it up just so you get that happy medium. And now if I right click, I can see I can mark seams in that way. Now you will end up with still some infinite loops, and the reason you're going to end up with infinite loops is of course that it's a full infinite loop, so we need to get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is just mark a seam on the bottom of here, right click, mark seam, L, hide that out of the way, and then I'm going to mark a seam going straight all the way down here, all the way down here, right click, mark seam, and then that's that one done. Now let's do the same on this one. Now it should inherit those options that we've picked, so let's see if it does. First of all, I'm just checking to make sure it's got no seams already. Then I'm going to go to select. I'm going to select sharp edges, and it's based on 32.9, which is what we had before. Right click, and we're going to mark a seam, and you can see we've got some seams marked supposedly in there, but they're not. They're actually behind it, so that's no problem. So what I'll do now is I'll come in, I'll grab this one and this one, right click, mark seam, L, hide it out of the way, and now Alt Shift click, right click, mark seam. Alright, Alt H, bring everything back. Let's grab this one first then, and what we're going to do is just press U, unwrap, and there we go. You can see just how nice that actually looks. Now let's do the same for this one as well. So we're going to grab it, Alt H, bring everything back, A2, grab everything, U, unwrap, and there we go. Alright, that's those two done. Now all we need is just to grab this, and we need to put that onto here. So I'm going to press Shift D, I'm going to bring it up, and I'm actually going to go to my UV layout because I'm going to actually want to unwrap the other part as well. I'm going to press dot to zoom me all the way in, press the tab button, and now let's turn this the right way. So RX 90, RZ 90, spin it round. Let's see if it's 3, or is it going to be Control 1? Actually, it's not the right way yet, so I'm going to spin it round again. So RZ 90, let's spin it round. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this out a little bit and try and get it into a nice sort of place like so. And let's actually have a look how far we can pull it back. So let's pull it back, maybe up to something like that point. And let's have a look on our render view what that looks like. Double tap the A. And I'm thinking that maybe it needs to go back a little bit further, like so. Double tap the A. Yeah, and I think something like that should be fine. I think one thing I do need to do with these, I'm just looking, I'm thinking I probably need to pull this out a little bit, and I also might need to just turn the saturation down a bit. So I'm just going to put this on proportional editing. So, which is, let's have a look, where is my proportional editing? There it is, this one here. And I'm going to pull it out just very slightly, bring it in, like so. So pull it out, like so. And there you go, you can see it looks a ton better. But now we just need to fix the color of this. So let's go to our shading. Let's press dot to zoom in. Should be able to zoom in. Let's put it onto rendered view. And let's bring in a curve. So we'll bring in a curve, I think, first. So Shift A, under where the color is. So we're going to bring curve, drop that in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this down. You can see already that's looking much, much nicer. Now I just want to get rid of this lightness as well. So I'm going to also bring in a hue and saturation. So hue and saturation. And let's now bring down the saturation just a little bit, like so. And now you can see it's starting to fit in much, much better than what it did before. And I'm thinking of just bringing the value down a little bit, double tapping the A, and now I think that looks much, much better than what it did before. All right, so I'm happy with that. Now I can go back to my modeling, and then what I can do is I can come now and grab this. So I should be able to press dot this time, and come round, grab it, press Shift D, and bring it to this one here. Drop it in where it needs to go. So I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to make it smaller now. I'm going to make this one a little bit dinkier than what the other one was, like that. I'm going to double tap the A, check on my render view, and there we go. All right, let's zoom out, have a look at that. Yeah, and that looks absolutely fine. All right, let's now come to our material, and now what I'm going to do is this leather actual strap. So I'm going to click the down arrow. I'm going to put in, I think it's called, let's just put in leather, because we should have 3 to pick from. So leather parchment is this one here. And then what we're going to do is pretty much the same thing. Because with leather, we'll probably be able to see it. Let's have a look first of all, see if we can get away with just pressing U, Smart UV Project, and let's have a look what that looks like. And you can actually see that's probably turned out absolutely fine. I don't think we need to actually do anything with that. So now let's come in and change this though. So if I come in and I grab the front of here and the front of this one, press Ctrl plus like so, and I'm just going to check my references to see what they look like. So I'm going to grab my reference and I'm just going to pull it over, and you can see that we have got this kind of metalish look, so that's the one I'm going to go with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out now and I'm going to look which one I actually want. So we've got, let's have a look, let's put it onto cycles render, have a quick look. You can see we've got these types of metal, probably going to be this one here. So if I click on this, we can see it's iron grainy. So let's use the iron grainy for this. So let's put it back on material. Let's go back to this, press dot, press tab, and now we'll plus, down arrow, and then we'll look for iron, grainy, click assign, and there we go. All right, now let's just have one quick look because we might need to go a little bit further back at the moment. We'll have a look first, see what that looks like. Double tap the A when it loads up. Yeah, I'm going to just swap it over and I'm going to try iron dock. Let's have a look at that. And I actually think that looks bad. I think I'm going to go with the iron dog. Now, the one thing I'm looking at is, do I need to go further down? If I press tab, press Ctrl plus, click assign, press tab again. Yeah, absolutely. It needs to go down to there. So you can see now, it looks so much better. All right, now let's come back to our material mode. And what we need to do is we just need to join everything up now. So if I grab both of these, this and this, press Ctrl J, and then we'll join this and this, Ctrl J, this, and this, and this, Ctrl J, and I'm just going to see if all that's joined. No, it's not, so let's join it all together, Ctrl J, and then finally, let's check this one. Yeah, we'll join all this together as well. So Ctrl J, G, and there we go. So now I'm just grabbing each one, pressing G, making sure they all come together, and there we go. All right, so we finally got there. So let's now go in and name all these. So I'm going to grab this one first. In fact, I'll make a new scene collection. I'm going to go down, I'll call this scrolls, like so, and then I'll grab this one, I'll call it small scroll, like so, and then this one, large scroll, like so, and then I'll call the next one sealed scroll, so sealed scroll, like so, and oops, I don't want that in there, so let's get rid of that. And then finally parchment, so parchment. Okay, and now we can grab all 3 of these. So grab them all, right click, and we're going to mark as asset. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these into my actual scrolls, and we should be left with something like that. I'm just looking to make sure everything's clean. And now finally, I'm just going to put these over. I'm going to press RZ 90, no, RZ 180, just to turn them around the right way. Then I'm going to drag them out and put them round about there, something like that. Let's have a look. I'm going to pull these scrolls to the back and then put this to the front. And when we've got a bookcase, we might actually put some of these in. All right, there we go. So you can see now we've got some really beautiful assets, and the scrolls just really add to it. And when we put it onto our render view, you can see that those, blackness of those things, you can see just how nice they actually look now. How nice everything looks, actually. All right, so I hope you're really happy with what you've got so far, and I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.